Titanic dataset. Poor project portfolio is one of the top reasons of why you're not getting an interview call. In this video, we are going to discuss 4 tips of how to build a solid project portfolio which can help you get interview calls. Joining with me is Nick Singh, who is an author of Ace the Data Science Interview book. He has also created a platform called Data Lemur, which helps you practice SQL interview questions. He was working with Google and Facebook previously, so obviously pretty solid experience, and he has more than 90,000 followers on LinkedIn who listens to his advice on cracking data science interviews. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we have Nick Singh on the show, and we are going to talk about 4 tips of building kick-ass project portfolio for your data scientist resume. And we're going to start with the interesting story that Nick has on how he got a job at Facebook.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of portfolio projects because they've really helped me in my own career. So it started with high school. I was a hip hop and Bollywood DJ here in Northern Virginia, where I'd mix, some of the best Bollywood songs with the best, rap music from Drake. And in college, I actually built a platform called Rapstock.io, which is sort of like the stock market for rappers. So if anyone's ever played fantasy football or fantasy cricket, where you draft players onto a virtual label or a virtual team, I made something similar where you could draft hip hop artists to a virtual label, right? And I would score their performance based on how many plays they got through the Spotify API. So in real time, I could say, hey, let's, go long on Drake and let's short this bad rapper who's just a one-hit wonder. So I built this product and everyone churned. They used it, but they churned. And that kind of helped me discover growth engineering, which is this field of using marketing, software engineering, and data to help build more sticky products. So it involves a lot of A/B testing and product analytics. And that work of growing Rapstock in my college dorm room is what I credit with having gotten me a job on Facebook's growth team. Because when I got to the interviews and they asked the question, why do you want to work at Facebook? Instead of BSing some answer about, oh yeah, I want to help the world, I just said, hey, look, I already grow my own products using data. You're the Facebook growth team. You have all this data and you're trying to grow Facebook's social network. I can already do the work. I'm already doing it for fun, for free on my own project. Let me do it for you. And of course, with acing the actual interview, we can't forget about the technical interview. That's important too. But between that, plus my good story, plus my portfolio project, I think that's really what got me on Facebook's growth team. And that's where I started my career.
That's an amazing story. And that gives a very important tip to all the viewers that they can use their passion to build a career, actually. So I see many of my subscribers, for example, they're cricket fans. And they use all kind of apps for doing cricket analysis, who is going to win or lose. Now they can maybe build their own cricket analytics platform, maybe build a dashboard in Power BI or build a prediction model using machine learning, use web scraping to scrap all the data from internet and get all those cricket numbers into a database. There are so many ideas, right? Like it could be music, cricket, and number of ideas.
There's so many ideas. And that's why I'm always so annoyed when I tell people about this story and they say, oh, great. So Nick, can you give me a portfolio project idea? And I'm like, hey, the whole point is you take your own interests. Because if I was to assign you what a good project might be, there's a good chance you wouldn't finish it. And that's actually one of the tips that we're going to talk about soon for why your portfolio project probably sucks and how to fix it is if you didn't finish it because you found it boring, because you saw some template on the internet instead of something that you actually are passionate about. That really stops you from finishing the project, and that really matters. And people can tell in an interview. There's this thing I call the halo effect, right? In psychology, it's known that if you're a beautiful, attractive person like you, Double, people in interviews
Thank you.
ascribe much more better qualities to you. Like, oh, this person must be kind. They must be gentle. They must be smart, only based on your physical appearance of looking good, right? This is called the halo effect. In interviews, it's passion. Passion gives you that halo effect where you say, hey, this person is talking so intelligently, so passionately about their data analysis, their cricket data analysis, or their hip hop project, or their cooking analysis project. Well, if they're so passionate about this, they're probably passionate about data science too. They're probably passionate about the job and the domain. This is not just about a paycheck for them. This is someone who, on their own, is spending time learning and growing in their own career. Suddenly, that one following your passion makes you seem just like a much better job candidate. And that's what I like to call, the halo effect for job seekers, which is passion. And best way to show your passion, your portfolio project.
Amazing. So let's talk about those 4 tips now. One of the most common questions that I get is, how do I get data for my data science projects? Those data sets on Kaggle are not enough and I am looking for something real. The typical answer to this question is, well, go use Python web scraping, but websites are getting smarter nowadays and they can block your Python web scraping script easily, making the data collection process challenging. Folks at Bright Data offer many solutions to resolve these issues, right from their smart proxy network to advanced data collection tools. With this, you can focus more on your business rather than endlessly wasting your time in tweaking your web scrapers. They also provide ready-to-use datasets, making them the best data collection platform. Whether you are a data scientist or a decision maker in your company, Bright Data comes in handy whenever you want to seamlessly collect data and integrate that into your project. Stay tuned, I will be using Bright Data in one of our upcoming projects. Also check video description below for the link for signing up on Bright Data platform. You will get $25 credit upon scheduling a demo. Let's go back to our video now.
So the first big issue I see with portfolio projects is you've made something that's boring, right? And the interviewer, the hiring manager, they're people. They don't want to be bored. They want to read about something interesting. Right? So one of the best ways to make your project not boring is to go use some actual interesting data sets. Don't use Iris, don't use Titanic data set, don't use what everyone else on Kaggle has already done. Do something that you're actually passionate about. Find a niche. Scrape your own data so that you know that, hey, you're working with a unique data set. Basically, go find some way to solve something that's interesting and a little bit differentiated and not work on another tutorial-esque project that they're tired of seeing.
That's an amazing tip. I also see so many resumes because my software and data analytics venture at like I interview people for data analyst, data scientist role, and I see like Titanic data set and Iris data set in so many resumes, and I'm like, don't give me this. There are so many ways of coming up with ideas. Let's say one of the tips that I give to people is, let's say you have a relative who's a doctor, okay, or who has a hospital or a grocery store or a pharma store. They will be using some software and they will have their own data set, right? Maybe your father is a pharmacist. Let's say they run local pharmacy and they have their own data set. So get that data set and ask them questions on that data set. What are the pain points? What kind of insights you can help them generate? And the best way is to start with a simple Power BI dashboard. Dashboarding is so easy. Then you can go into the world of machine learning and so on. Don't try to go into machine learning on a day one.
Exactly. And I mean, that's actually the third tip, but we'll just talk about it right now, which is if you pick something too complicated, you're not going to finish your project. And hiring managers and recruiters really care that your work is finished. And finished means it's not done on your laptop. Finished means it's out there in the world. It's on GitHub. It's on Kaggle. It's posted on your own portfolio project website, right? It's there for people to evaluate and see and use. That's what finished looks like. And when you make something overcomplicated and you just try to say on day one, I'll do deep learning, there's no chance you're going to finish this project. And it's always going to be just some random lines of code you wrote on your own local laptop that never saw the light of the day. And that's not what makes a good portfolio project.
Exactly. All right. So now let's move on to I think we already covered 2 tips, right? Yeah. And so we can move on to the third one.
So the third big problem I see with portfolio projects is they lack visuals. See, a photo or a picture is worth 1,000 words. So when you have this big wall of code on your portfolio project, and I'm a hiring manager, I'm busy, I can't make heads or tails out of it. I can't understand what you're doing. But if you're actually able to summarize your work very neatly, make a graphic, show your R squared, really show your plot, show your end result cleanly, then that gives me a very quick understanding of what you've done. And if I had time, then I can go read the details, scroll through your code on GitHub. But without the visual, I can't even understand that easily what you've done. So I think visuals are really important. And I think they also help you just showcase that Power BI or Tableau, which are super in demand skills for data analysts and data scientists. So it's almost like killing two birds with one stone when you build a really good visual.
Yep. And I've seen many people writing interesting LinkedIn posts as well. They will make a presentation of all the dashboards that they have built, make little video out of it, and post that as a LinkedIn post. And that gets attention of recruiters.
Exactly. And actually, in a future video, which we'll tease in a little bit, but when you're sending a cold email, which is an email to a stranger, to a hiring manager that you don't know, when you embed an image of your Tableau dashboard, or you embed an image of like the big infographic you made, that incentivizes them to really take your work seriously and click on your project and really learn more. So if you're ever, pitching yourself via email or in a LinkedIn DM, or you're posting just publicly on LinkedIn, text posts aren't what's going to get you attention. Neither is 700 lines of code. It's that visual that really catches people's attention and makes them pay attention to you.
Great. So let's say you have a Word resume or PDF resume, you have a description of your project, but then below that you have a nice link. And people open this Word resume, they're not going to take a printout, they open it on a computer, they can just click on it. Because when I was interviewing at Bloomberg and NVIDIA, whenever I see people's GitHub link or project link, I would open that because that's the most important thing for me to get some data points. I would also look at their code. Just by glancing through the code, I can get a lot of useful data points, which can help me make a decision.
Exactly. And let's take a step back. Just the fact that you've uploaded code to GitHub tells me, hey, you know something about source control, which is something that some data analysts and data scientists don't know about, right? And that is something that some hiring managers look for at a basic level. Hey, does this person know basic software engineering skills such as source control? Well, if they have a GitHub with code that they've committed, hey, suddenly we can check that off. So when you're actually able to showcase your work and you link to it and you really show that you're done, it gives hiring managers like you, what you've done in the past, real confidence that this person isn't just making up some story, BSing you, just listing some bullshit skills on their resume. By linking and showing them your portfolio projects, you're able to show that you're not just BSing, you've got something concrete behind you. And it gives the interviewer confidence to say, hey, you know what? This person's worth hiring.
And since you talked about just like praising yourself in terms of your resume skills, many times I see things like excellent communication. What does that mean? If you want to write it, maybe you can say excellent communication in bracket. I was a secretary of local Toastmaster club, because that adds a proof to your claim. Right. But if you write just excellent communication, very hardworking, don't even add that into your resume. You're wasting your time and other people's.
Exactly. Another one is like, hey, I'm fluent in English. Well, that's cool, but could you make a beautiful infographic and then make sure there are no typos on it? That itself would tell me, hey, this person understands communication, design, and is a good data storyteller, right? And these are real in-demand skills that are hard to prove, right? Any one of us could write, oh, we storytell with our data. Oh, we know how to communicate with stakeholders, right? Like everyone says that. But it's only when you make these really clean dashboards that are public, or you make these clean infographics, or you make a very clean PowerPoint presentation that summarizes your hardcore technical work. That's the real way of showing, hey, stakeholder communication, you're fluent in English. That's the real way to show, not tell, but show what you're doing and show that you have those skills.
Amazing. All right. So let's move to the fourth and the last tip.
The last thing is your project probably sucks because it lacks impact. And I know this is the hardest one, but the best portfolio projects have some impact on the world. So for example, my own one from Facebook that got me to Facebook, Raps.io, that got to 2,000 monthly active users. So when I'm talking to interviewers and saying, hey, have you built real software? Not just reversed a linked list on LeetCode or done some SQL interview questions, but have you actually written real software for real people? I'm saying, yeah, here are my Google Analytics. There are 2,000 monthly active users. People love it. I really know what it's like to put out a real product. And that's exactly what working at Facebook, the type of skills that really matter there. So I think one way to make impact is if you build something for a community, go post on their Reddit. Impact doesn't have to mean, I saved the company $1 million from my portfolio project. Impact could just be, hey, I went viral on our cricket. Hey, I went viral on our data is beautiful. Hey, my LinkedIn post got 20,000 views, or hey, my blog on Medium got 50,000 views, or my YouTube video where I, showcased my self-driving RC race car using TensorFlow. When I put that on YouTube, it got, 50,000 views and 100,000 views on TikTok. That's a way to show people, hey, I've done something valuable and worthwhile to the world. You don't have to just have made money or save someone time, to show impact. Your portfolio project can still have impact to people, even if you've done it cheaply on your own.
I was just talking with someone who got a machine learning engineer job at Amazon. And he was telling me one of the things he did is he created his YouTube channel and he posted few videos of, he did some AI learning in cloud using Amazon SageMaker, etc. He just made a nice video summarizing what he learned and he expressed his thoughts and opinions. And although he had a small YouTube channel, it's like just 4 videos. When he showcased that in front of interviewers, they were impressed. You don't need to have like 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel. It just shows that you have this ability to express yourself on a public platform. It shows, I can watch a video and figure out immediately how is your communication.
And it makes complete sense, right? Because data science, data analytics, machine learning, these are interdisciplinary fields where, let's say I'm a data scientist, I have to work with PMs, software engineers, and business stakeholders. Well, that means a lot of communication, a lot of arguing, a lot of vouching for, hey, no, we should do things this way. Well, what way? How do you show people you have those skills to communicate, to convince stakeholders, to convince leadership that your recommendation is the one that they should be implementing? You can't really test that in an interview, can they? And it's hard to read that on paper. Oh, you said you did this in your last job, but I don't know how to test that. But that YouTube video is exactly how you show, hey, this person seems confident, articulate, fluent in English, explaining their point of view and really demonstrating that they know what they're talking about. It just takes a 2-minute video to do that. And the thing is, most people don't get there because most people give up. Most people work on boring things. Most people don't visualize their work. And that's why, even though this doesn't seem like rocket science, most people won't do it, which is exactly why if you follow these steps and you make your project interesting, you have visuals, you make sure it's done and posted on GitHub, and finally, you make sure it's seen by the world and has a little bit of impact. That's exactly why this is the cheat code for getting hired in data. That's why you separate yourself out from the rest of the competition. Because it seems simple, but most people won't do it. And that's where you really come out ahead.
Amazing. So I hope all these tips were useful to you all. And as Nick just said, don't just listen to this video, do an action. The art of getting things done is to act. All right. In the video description, we are going to put a link of Nick's LinkedIn. He has more than 90,000 followers. We are also going to put a link of DataLoomer, which is a new platform that he has launched, which helps you practice SQL questions. And SQL is like a salt of data science. It's whether you are a data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, they will ask you SQL questions. And DataLoomer is that platform which can help you practice those real SQL questions online. You don't need to install anything. You can just practice it right there. All right. So try these out. Nick, do you have any final things to add here?
My final thought is once your project is done, it needs to get seen. That's the only way you're going to get hired. So you're definitely going to want to watch the next video, which is all about how do we cold email hiring managers and really show them your projects and show them what you can do.
All right. Great. Thank you very much for your time, Nick, today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Neville.